Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
6-hour drive and you can only listen to one artist. Who are you listening to? Removed. And That Kids is How I Met Your Uncle Marshall. Zitch Dog, Marshmallow. Pink Floyd. 6 songs easy lol. Pigs, dogs, sheep, shine on you crazy diamond. Welcome to the machine, lol, trip over. Echoes is 22 minutes by itself. Fleetwood Mac, no question. I've actually done this before during a coastal drive. There's nothing quite like belting out Dreams while watching the sun set over the ocean. TV Nix is basically my road trip spirit guide at this point. Led Zeppelin 1 through Physical Graffiti, perfection. First Thought, 2. I love a listen to ramble on during a road trip. Weird Al, holy cow. This is the out-of-the-box winner hands down. His catalog is easily big enough that you don't need a single repeat. And on top of being top-notch music, it's entertaining as comedy and as interesting as a survey of pop music over the last 40 years. Excellent pick. Just looked at my Weird Al collection. It's about 9.5 hours long. Destination, Albuquerque. I hate sauerkraut. Followed by a pit stop to see the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. King Giz! 26 albums worth of music spanning over multiple genres. That'd be my go-to as well, because I don't know anything other band with that much variety. All Star by Smash Mouth, on repeat. You just described listening to pop radio stations when that song was popular. Also every movie trailer. Prince, such a wide variety of tunes. You could drive across the entire planet and not run out of songs. I'd start with Lovesexy for sure. The Beatles. I actually did this 2 weeks ago driving from St. Louis to Cincinnati. Started with the Please Please Me album and got all the way to the White Album. On the way back I started where I left off, then put on Past Masters 1 and 2, then Live at the BBC. Surprised I had to scroll this far to find Beatles mentioned. Yeah, this is criminally low and they're way before my time. David Bowie. I love David Bowie, but there's a lot of his music that I don't like. He had some very weird phases. You could avoid them and still hit 6 hours. Older I get, the more I look at Bowie as an artist who also played music. Queen. My first thought was, Don't Stop Me Now, is always an excellent place to start a road trip. Stevie Wonder. I think Stevie Wonder got me through the first week of COVID lockdown. His music is so beautifully written and composed and uplifting that I just kept listening to it. Daft Punk. Around the world, around the world. 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 Love that song. What's the name? Grateful Dead. Can squeeze in 2 concerts and I'm at my destination. Ops question is not theoretical for many of us who have done 6+ hour drives to the next show with only a box of Grateful Dead tapes to listen to. My 25-year-old deadhead son inherited a 97 car with only a tape deck a few years ago. My wife contacted her deadhead brother who put out the word, and tapes started arriving from all over. It's either Dead, Fish, or Billy for me. Any of them can fill up 6 hours for me and make it feel like it was a joy to be there. This 1000%. Done it many times. One of the finest experiences of my life, driving a straight shot from Pittsburgh to Atlanta on November 7, 2020, deep COVID, and the people I was crashing with in Atlanta didn't want me to stop anywhere before I got there. 4 shows, maybe. Still remember coming out of the mountains of West Virginia listening to the truck and Greater Than Drums, the other one from Dane Country Coliseum 1978, Dick's Picks 18, If You Haven't Slurped, and looking down to see I was going 90, dur 22 dur 22 dur 22 dur 22 dur duuuuuuhhhhh. I love how I can hear the sheer power of a fill bomb through text. The Tragically Hip. Even though they were a bit ahead of my time because I'm only 15, not many people outside of Canada know this band. But the ones who do know how good they are. Fleetwood Mac. What time do we leave? You can go your own way. I once found myself on an 8-hour drive through mountainous terrains with really bad radio conditions and only the CD in the player with me, as I had forgotten my about 50 Candela traveling holder. Luckily it was Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Played it over and over, and the same on the trip back the next day. Radiohead. I'm riding with you. I'll bring any snacks you want. Depeche Mode. Was looking for this one. Such a great band with an amazing catalogue of music. You can even change it up with some of their earlier works. That's the fun stuff. Can we have something else than Depeche Mode? I'm sick of it. Maintain eye contact, put on, just can't get enough. Tool. So like, 2 whole songs. The Talking Heads. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. This Must Be the Place is my all-time favorite song. I've listened to it for years and it never gets old. Mozart. I used to be an opera designer. Drove cross-country a lot. The ring cycle works, but messes with your head. Do not recommend, but Mozart. His operas, clear winner. Whatever I am currently obsessed with, my listening is entirely dictated by my ad, and so I usually have a 2-week period of listening to the same 1 or 2 albums over and over and then move on to another thing for another 2 weeks loudly crying that said. I can always listen to Agalic forever. There's this meme that I have that says, when I like a song, I listen to it on repeat until the artist comes out and asks for water. Tears of joy loudly crying tears of joy. I also have ADHD. Whatever audiobook I'm already listening to. Seth's son Villano wore white the night he was to kill a king. It'd get you there and back at least twice at 1x speed. Upvote for Stormlight Archives. Gorillaz. Their style changes so much dependent upon the features, sometimes it's like a completely different artist. This is exactly my choice too, no hesitation. Their discography is like 10 hours too, so you won't need to repeat any. Almost no duds in the entire batch. The Cure. I answered Depeche Mode, but I could do The Cure too. The Cure are an unreal driving band. So much variety as well as hits. Disintegration is a great album for driving at night. Taylor Swift 100%. Helps that I know every single song and there are songs with so many different vibes. Singing along will make the hours fly. I'm down with this. And then when you've got the countdown of the final 10 minutes, we all know what we're playing, right? I think we know the answer all too well. That's my shower song since it's a full 10 minutes lol. I was surprised to have to scroll so far to see this comment. I was too, and then all the comments above this are people pretending to be Gen X lol. I actually did this. Drove for like 7 hours. Put Taylor Swift on for the whole ride. I'm pretty sure I didn't have to repeat any songs either. It was great. Her discography is so long. I've done the same. The different genres she has also makes it easy to find a song for any mood. I've done a few solo 24 hours road trips to my hometown, and one of my favorite things for the first 12 hours is starting from her debut album going to her latest. I've been in the top 0.05% of listeners and still found myself often going like, oh shit, I forgot about this banger. My boyfriend was a good sport and listened to a good 2 to 3 hours straight of her on our last road trip. I listened to Taylor Swift during an approximately 16-hour solo road trip, round trip. It was my first time driving out of state alone and for so long. She's my favorite artist and it kept me awake, less anxious, and it was fun. Would do again. I did a 10-hour road trip a few months ago and I literally did listen to Taylor the whole drive. Had to scroll very, very far to find this, and I'm surprised it's not downvoted to oblivion because Reddit doesn't like to allow people to earnestly enjoy her music. Open mouth smile. 6 hours would barely scratch the surface. Bob Marley cool. Rush. About time. Right with you bro. Snow Dogg is chiming in. Paul Simon. I used to drive cross-country and listen to his concert in the park back-to-back. Incredible stuff. Graceland does it for me. Diamonds on the soles of her shoes. Soundtrack to HS for me. The Good, All Grateful Dead full score. I measure road trips as hash of shows. Same. Had one drive I used to do in door-to-door Europe 72 perfect fit. Haha yes. My parents live 4 shows away. I actually love driving to see them. Billy Joel, Vienna waits for you. Petty. Surprised I had to scroll so long to find this. Ween. Enough variety in musical styles to not get bored. I scrolled just to find and upvote this. The Boobnish works in mysterious ways. If you get bored listening to Ween, you can piss up a rope. Nujabes. MF Doom. Queens of the Stone Age. Cannot believe I had to scroll this far to see QOTSA mention Pensive Face. They literally have an album that is based off a drive from LA to Palm Springs. The Beatles. Consistently good, consistently evolving, numerous albums good from front to back. They were great and then they started using drugs and became amazing. ABBA. Nirvana. Eminem. I can listen to Queen for 6 hours without a moment's hesitation, although if I'm driving through Florida, it's Jimmy Buffett time. When I was a small 90s kid in post-war Yugoslavia, we used to go to the Croatian seaside in an ancient, busted-up Volkswagen down the old road, a meandering one-lane track through the backwaters of Croatia's least populated areas. A cassette radio with crappy speakers. 2 to 3 cassettes to listen to, but one that played almost on repeat for the whole 6 to 8 hour trip, Queen's greatest hits. I can't explain how we never got bored of it. Or how Dad would just turn the volume down when we wanted to pass the time playing word games. It was a soundtrack of those beautiful endless summers as a kid. I still have days when I remember Queen exists and go on about blasting the discography on headphones wherever I go, occasionally mimicking Freddie's motions and poses when the music winds up. So, yeah, I get you. Cranberries. Lady Gaga smiley face. Elton John. Had to scroll way too far to find this. Coheed and Cambria. This is also the correct answer. The entire discography from start to finish. Lana Del Rey. 36 times of Venice Bitch easily. Cake, I mean, if you're going the distance. Taylor Swift. I know fans of Taylor Swift aren't allowed to exist outside of the designated spaces, so go ahead and downvote me. I got your back, homie. The vitriol she gets is so lame. Same here, she'd be one of my picks. Huge catalog and IMO, most of it is at least good, with a lot of it verging on great. Do you want country, pop, crazy stupid bangers, folk pop, sad emo songs you can shout in the car? Taylor Swift got you covered. We are going to completely ignore the rap songs ton out. We are going to completely ignore the rap songs. I'm ready for it. She was the first person that came to mind for me, but I'd also do the next 6 hours with Fleetwood Mac. In case someone wouldn't let me do a full 12 hours of Taylor rolling on the floor laughing.